In this video, we're going to be learning about algebraic expressions. So an algebraic expression is a mathematical phrase with terms made up of variables, numbers, and operations. So go ahead and write that definition with me here. An algebraic expression is a mathematical phrase as opposed to an entire mathematical sentence. So it's a mathematical phrase made of terms and operations. Okay, so an example of an algebraic expression, we have 7 more than 3 times a number. Okay, now the reason why this is an algebraic expression as opposed to a numeric expression is that in a numeric expression, you know what all the numbers are. In an algebraic expression, you have sort of a mystery number. So this is going to be 7 more than 3 times a number. So we write 3 times a number as 3x. So 3 times a number, and it's 7 more than that. So plus 7. So this is the algebraic expression, 3x plus 7. That is what represents this entire sentence there. Now, this algebraic expression is made up of 2 terms. We have a 3x and then a 7. So go ahead and in your math journal, next to the page where you're planning on writing or gluing in these guided notes, we're going to write down some additional definitions here, just so that we're all really clear on what these things are and they mean. All right, so a term just means a single mathematical object. Now, I say a math object because sometimes that mathematical object might be a variable, sometimes it might be a constant, and sometimes it might be, like in this case, a variable multiplied by a coefficient or just a numeric multiplier. So this is 3 times x. Whenever you see a number right in front of a variable, it means multiply. So 3 times that number. Okay, so let's back up a second. So variable, we don't really know what variables are yet. So a variable just means an unknown value represented with a symbol. Okay, so oftentimes we use the letters X or maybe Y to be that symbol, but you could also use an object. You could use a flower, a square, an emoji, like doesn't matter. But in mathematics, we often use letters. All right, so a constant. What is a constant? Is a number, and we'll just say on its own. So not next to the variable. So in this expression, the 7, that's called a constant because it's just a regular old 7. So a number on its own. And just so you know that those numbers can be positive or negative. All right, and then we have a coefficient. And this would be the number of variables. Or it's basically a multiplier of that variable. So 3 times x. So this means that we have 3 x's. Okay, so now we got the vocabulary out of the way. Let's go back to our guided notes. Okay, so when we are translating algebraic expressions or from words to algebraic expressions, there's often some clue words. And these clue words are going to be very similar to what you've seen when you're working with word problems with basic operations. So for example, we know that in this, because it was 7 more than, we knew that we needed to add. So we can put as the clue words for addition, we know it's going to be more or more than. Well, there might be plus, there might be added by, or maybe we're going to use the mathematical vocabulary of sum. So these are all indicators of when you would use addition. All right, so subtraction, some clue words you might see would be less or less than, maybe minus, maybe subtracted by, or maybe the difference, which we know that's the mathematical term for subtraction. All right, multiply. We know that some clue words might be groups of, that one's my favorite. Groups of course, times is often used, or per, like, $2 per gallon, so that would mean multiply. Twice something, right? That we know that that's always going to be a times 2. And then finally, product. So the product of 3 and x, so we know it's multiply. All right, so division, there are some clue words to look out for. So split up, maybe divides into, maybe quotient. And sometimes there's also clue words for when to use exponents. So that would be to the power of, or squared, and then it's to the power of 2, or maybe cubed, and it's to the power of 3. And then sometimes in algebraic expressions, we also have situations where you use parentheses. So the clue words that you have for parentheses might be the sum of, and then a complex something or other. So the sum of 3x plus 7 and then another expression. And you know that you would put those in parentheses. Same idea, it might be the difference of, or maybe the quantity. All right, so in the next slides, we are going to be doing some practice with translating algebraic expressions from regular sentences to this format.